So perhaps in closing, perhaps if I could just ask Your Excellency, President Kagame, one final question, maybe one thought that you can share with us. I think what's becoming clear is that some countries have started running and some countries are really doing well right now in terms of developing ICTs and having practical applications of that in their countries. The question is, the continent needs to move as a whole. And I'm wondering, what kind of leadership do you think is required in our regional and Pan-African bodies to accelerate this ICT development, ICT agenda across the continent? And I'm wondering, maybe we even need to set regional standards. Should there be commitments by governments, for example, to invest a fixed percentage of GDP towards ICT development? How can we move the continent forward, and what kind of leadership is required, Your Excellency?
I think the kind of leadership that is required is for all of us to try and learn from different examples and best practices. Work together, learn from each other. You see, I'm a bit hesitant to say, let's legislate, let's make sure, let's make statements that we need to put so much into. I think what we need to do is for us across the continent to internalize, first of all, that Africa is lagging behind and almost on everything. And there is no good reason for that, because otherwise we have everything to enable us to actually move from where we are to where we want to be. Africa has everything. So it's about leadership, it's about organization, it's about management, it's about commitment to make a difference for ourselves, to transform the lives of our people across the continent. So we can only succeed if we understand the magnitude of the problem, but also the fact that we have sufficient resources to overcome that, whether human or other resources. So now the question is always, why don't we actually do what we know we should be doing to make that transformation, either through leapfrogging or other ways? And again, I think the point has been made by various leaders here on the panel that it's not useful to just take, even if it is one important thing, and isolate it from the rest. It's about interaction. It's about how things work together and how they may be linked, and looking at it as such, that's when we are able to move forward. So do we first understand and believe that ICTs are a central part of the things we need to consider for the overall transformation, and not just seeing ICT as one entity, but certainly understand it in its full dimension and how important it is in supporting and driving the progress or success in many other sectors. Now, in the national plans of our countries, when we are planning, whether it is budgets or different things, investments that have to be made, do we give it its right place? That's very important. Do we understand that and understand the urgency of this transformation that has got to take place, and where we are and where we want to be? So I'm a bit hesitant, therefore, to say, for example, in agriculture, which was also talked about earlier, we made certain commitments on our continent at the AU level, and said we need, in our national budgets to earmark, about 10% or something like that for agriculture. That was a good thing. It highlighted agriculture and so on and so forth. But from that time up to now, you find progress has been dismal. So then the question is, does just talking about earmarking, certain levels of investment actually mean that you're going to do it? It only helps that you keep it in your mind, and it helps in your planning, but there's something else. We have to decide whether we are going to do it. So it's no longer the information we lack about many things we have to do, but I don't know where we get lost on the way, and we find we are not doing exactly what we have discussed so many times that makes sense for our development. So the kind of leadership, therefore, you are asking, I think, comes based on some of the many ideas, or rather the many ideas that were generated in this room, including the young people, the young lady who has just spoken. It's these people, it's we the leaders, but how do we interact and make the kind of sense that is required to be made? So I don't know whether it is saying let's have 10% or 5% or this or so much in our budgets. I think it's more important first say, let's give it its right place and let's understand it as a central element in the whole transformation and development process.
Your Excellency, thank you very much indeed.